Hi everyone, this is my third attempt at making this video. I keep making them too long. I'm cutting down by like 15 minutes because it was like 30 minutes to do this the first time. So sorry if it's a little unclear, but this is the best that I can do for y'all. So we're going to go over notes to paragraphs. Let me share my screen really quick. Here's the assignment. There's a video here. The link doesn't work because again it was too long. Hopefully I'll change that. I'm skipping a lot of it for right now for the video. You should go through this. You really need to go through this. Go down to the process, and this is what we're going to do. Download the speed bump signs. I'll point out what that looks like in a second. Select 2 of the quotes from your evidence log sharing. The point of the evidence log sharing, if you watch that last video, is to have 2 quotes that connect to each other. That's really the main point. One that you posted, and hopefully one that your classmate responded with, right? Like they replied to your quote with something similar or something that solves that problem. That's really what we're looking for. So then your classmate helps you out and everything's great. And then write on a new document and then follow the instructions below. Here is the speed bump signs, just so you can see it. Notice it is a bunch of templates. Topics, support, evidence, support, and tie-in. Those are the 4 elements of test. Please watch the other videos and the PowerPoint to know what test is. And now let me go to my new documents. I've walked through this a couple times and there's just not enough time to do it. But notice it says, and these are the instructions from our assignment, evidence, right? The example evidence, use a quote or golden line from the tough article and number it as number 1, starting with the signal phrase from the speed bump signs. All right, so here's my quote, high achieving students. This was the one that I posted in that EL sharing example. So I'm not even going back into my notes. I'm going into that previous assignment to go from there. And then this is one of the templates from the speed bump signs. I went down to, and this is the only time I'm going to do it, but I went down to the examples part and I just used that. For example, she writes, Paul Tuff, I'm pretty sure, identifies as male. So I changed the she to he, but it's basically exactly what I wrote there. Number 2 is support. Rewrite the quote in your own words. Here it is, the quote in my own words. And because I knew that this was coming, because I knew what the role of my translation in my notes was going to be, my interpretation, if you looked at my notes, I already had the in other words in there. And that's the template for support, the first part of support. This is where things get a little bit more, number 3 is where things get a little bit more difficult. Explain the meaning of the idea in the quote. Some students think that the meaning is basically restating the quote, right? It's not quite that. It's basically like giving us the larger scope of it. So in this case, I wrote, what he means is that there, and notice I'm asking for the meaning, and what I wrote was what he means. Keep it simple, the reader is stupid. There is an emotional issue that low income students feel in college that privileged students do not feel, and that issue causes them to feel overwhelmed. I'm saying feel a lot. This is just a draft. It's not great. By the essay, if I'm putting this in my essay, I'm going to have to change it, but it's fine for now. Causes them to feel overwhelmed by work, and they start to think they are incapable of doing it, especially when they compare themselves to their classmates. Basically, their environment starts to weigh on them, right? Number 4, tie in, explain why it matters using the speed bump sign. This is important because, is what I use. This matters because, again, keep it simple. And I'm using the templates. It's all on the speed bump thing. Because many are very capable students, many very capable students end up dropping out dropping out of school. Not because they cannot do the work, but because they are not emotionally ready to be in a new environment with people not like them. So it's that moment where they start comparing themselves to the other students, the students that seem to know what they're doing. That's when they really start to buckle a little bit. And throughout the semester, we're going to go over that in more detail. But notice I keep bringing up low-income students. I keep saying that they're capable, and I keep saying it's something about the environment that's causing them to fail, right? Go down to here. Next step is the topic sentence. Name the idea from your 4 sentences and its origin as number 5, using the speed bump signs for topic. So the idea is low-income students don't feel comfortable in a new environment or in a new school environment. And where that comes from is Paul Tough. The template is Paul Tough writes about. Like, that's really what the template is in the article Paul Tough writes about. The template actually says in the book, this is an article, so you change that. Notice I put the title of the article in quotes. If it's a book, it's in italics. This is just an article, so it's quotes. And notice I did not put by Paul Tough. By jacks this sentence up, because what by means is it's a descriptive phrase. So this is no longer a main component of the sentence. So the sentence is really now writes about low-income students, blah, 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 blah. What's writing about low-income students? I don't know, because you put that by there. Some students will fix that and just put he instead. They do the by Paul Tough, he writes about. Now you have a he represents Paul Tough. So now you have a sentence that really reads in the article, who gets to graduate by Paul Tough writes about. So you basically repeated the same thing twice in a row. How about we make this shit simple and get rid of the by, get rid of the by, and then it's just Paul Tough writes. Nice and simple. And then repeat the steps again, and then rearrange the paragraph in test order. That's pretty simple. We just copy, or we really are going to cut, put that up here, and we'll change it all into a more paragraph looking thing. I'm erasing all the numbers, but it's basically going number 5 first, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. Notice I indented. This looks like a regular paragraph now. It's not a great one, but it's a decent one. And I only had to write 3 new sentences for it, and I based everything on my notes. So for the response is slightly different, but also the same. For the response, we have these speed bump signs for topic sentences that are slightly different. So I'm going to copy and paste this one so we can see it. And I'm just jumping into the next paragraph. You should go through the steps. It literally says, go repeat the steps again for the next quote, meaning start with the quotes and then explain it fully before you write your topic sentence. I'm skipping it just to save time for right now. And later on, once you get used to the process, you could skip it. But really, I strongly suggest topic sentence after you've written the rest of the paragraph. All right. So really, this is a very complicated template, but it's not. If we look at what I wrote, low-income students, not feeling comfortable in school. It can also be seen later in the article where Tough writes about, points out that UT recognizes those feelings and tries to change how students see the environment. So basically what I did was I I actually acknowledge what came in the previous paragraph. That's tie-in, right? Tie-in and topic, they kind of work together. So I had to bring up low-income students, and I had to bring up comfort, and I had to bring up their environment, because that's what my last paragraph was about. So I just smashed that all together and made it nice and clear to connect those things together, right? Can also be seen in is telling the reader, hey, he actually does not leave that point. That is his point. And the point of doing that is to, because the reader is stupid, you have to re-emphasize the same idea over and over again in case people aren't listening. And that's a huge part. In the where he it can also be seen in the article where Tuff writes about, can also be seen in the article, right? That's what I have here. Can also be seen in the article. And I changed this to where Tuff, and I say points out, that's fine. Points, writes about how UT, and I'm gonna have to change this up a little bit, how University of Texas recognizes those feelings. And so notice I kind of use that template. Basically, I'm signaling what happened before and what's happening next. That was a quick rundown. I know it was a lot of information, a lot of steps. Again, come to lab, come to office hours, ask me questions. But that's what I got for you. All right. Hopefully that helps. I'll see y'all later. Bye.